guys, and welcome to Mad Dog Minis. Take a good, long look. Iconic, isn't it? The classic Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Terminator. The high-set pauldrons with the Crux Terminatus, the bulldog helmet, and even the squatting stance. It's nostalgia overload for hobbyists like me. These guys have been here since the beginning in Warhammer 40,000. And they deserve respect. But they're getting dwarfed on the tabletop by the newer series of Primaris miniatures now available. In the lore, firstborn Space Marines are supposed to be smaller and shorter, but that never really stood well with me. I like to try to convert all of my tabletop miniatures up to Primaris scale, against the lore. Let's compare this Terminator against some other miniatures now, and against some of my own conversions, to see how it holds up. So remember, no loss of love for these guys, but I'm just trying to bring them into the 21st century. First up is an intercessor. The intercessor is the rank and file soldier of most Primaris armies. Even this basic trooper is making the classic Terminator look a little bit short, and frankly, a little bit derpy too. The weird proportions of the legs and the lack of abdomen on the Terminator are really screaming at me in this footage. It's not a great comparison. It's further compounded when we compare against an aggressor. The added bulk of this larger model really starts to make the Terminator look a little bit insignificant, which is not good. Tactical dreadnought armour is supposed to be driven, not worn, and used only by the chapter's elite. It's not really saying that to me in this footage. Let's be kinder with our next comparison. Let's have a look at an Imperial Guardsman next to our classic friend. Here you can see the Terminator does pretty well. The Guardsman looks very small and puny in comparison. The Terminator looks big and powerful. This is a good comparison for the classic Terminator. There are no problems here for me. What do you think? Moving on, let's now compare the classic Terminator against a much more modern Terminator, the Chaos Terminator, which was released much more recently by comparison. The Chaos Terminator benefits with increased design technology. It has a better pose, much higher level of detail, slightly better proportions, and a greater height. All those trophies on top serve to make it look a lot bigger than it really is, which really helps. For that reason, I didn't convert my Chaos Terminators. Moving on, let's now compare against a Tactical Marine. These two belong with each other. The Terminator looks bigger, bulkier and more elite compared to the Tactical Marine because it's designed to be that way. If you are a firstborn collector and you don't like Primaris miniatures, there is no problem here. Let's take a look at my conversion for a Primaris-sized Terminator. The Space Wolf you see is a mixture of aggressor and Terminator and is designed to be taller with better proportions and yet maintain that iconic silhouette. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to give the conversion a go, check for a link in the description. Moving on again, let's now compare my conversion against some other miniatures. First of all, the Intercessor again. Hopefully you can see here that we've really gained some height and stature in comparison to that Primaris miniature. The added bulk of the Terminator up top really sets it apart from its Primaris brethren and makes it look more imposing. I think this is a good comparison and sorts out a lot of those problems that we saw earlier on. If we move on and compare against an aggressor, we can see that the aggressor no longer bullies the Terminator into submission. The Terminator now looks just as tall, a little bit more slender perhaps, but that's mainly due to all those pipes and promethium tanks at the back of the aggressor. But no longer does the Terminator look insignificant. It just looks different, which is good. Terminators are different. So what about if we now compare our new Terminator against the more recent Chaos Terminator that was released? I think the Chaos Terminator does very well here. There's not that much difference in overall height. The head height is the main giveaway, if you look. We've gained a whole head's worth of height. But it doesn't really look that way. And from behind, not too different. I think these Chaos Terminators are a sign of what's to come with Terminator design. Moving on, let's go back to our Imperial Guardsman. Wow, what a difference. The Guardsman now looks positively pathetic in comparison to the Terminator. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? If that Guardsman is 6 foot, the Terminator has to be between 8 and 9 feet tall. Let's have a look against a heavy intercessor, which happens to be one of my favourite models from the Primaris range. Once again, I think the new Terminator holds up very well against this heavier infantryman. The extra bulk up top sets him apart and makes him look more elite and more ancient. I think this is exactly right. Let's now have a look at another of my conversions. This conversion is very similar and creates a Grey Knight's Terminator, using aggressor legs again. If you want to know how to do this conversion, check for a link in the descriptions again. What do you think of these conversions? How do they hold up? Let me know. Moving on, let's now talk a little bit about where we are with our classic Terminator. I will always have some of these in my collection. That will never ever change. They are amazing miniatures and hold great nostalgia for me and many others. But for my tabletop miniatures, I had to make some improvements. They were just looking too small against the new Primaris miniatures. If you've enjoyed this content, please consider liking and sharing. It all helps my channel to grow. And if you're not already subscribed, consider giving me a subscription. I'm going to leave you with some footage of my Wolfguard Terminators. I hope you like them. Join me for a future video, guys. Take care.